Hello, parents. Today, I will be giving you a brief introduction about your child's IEP process. IEP can feel very overwhelming, but I am here to let you know you can do this. We will be discussing some introductory processes prior to receiving an actual IEP. So let's jump right in. This presentation is primarily to help empower you as parents and help you understand that you are an integral part of this IEP process. I want you to know your rights. Today, we're going to be discussing about parent-student involvement, the referral process, evaluation process, eligibility, and some of the components of the IEP. Your child's been given an IEP, and at this point, you're just like, what now? Well, here's some terms that will help you, and you will be hearing often throughout this process. The first is the Individual with Disabilities Education Act. This is a law that makes it available that all students be able to receive a free and appropriate public education. It's eligible again to all students in the United States and ensures that special education and related services be given to those children. All right. Again, these are for children who meet the criteria. All right. The last thing, so we've talked about the Individual Disabilities Education Act. That's a law, that gives all students that right to what's called FAPE, or the free and appropriate public education. And lastly, um, this is your Bible, parents, the procedural safeguards. You use it, it tells you all of your rights that you have the rights to during the evaluation and the IEP process. So once you obtain that from the school, read it, know it, refer back to it as much as you need. Now, parents, keep in mind that you are your child's advocate. One of IDEA's founding principle is the right for parents to be able to participate in the educational process. All right? You have the right to make educational decisions for your child with disabilities. The law is very specific about what school system must do to ensure that you are a part of that process if you choose to participate. Now, again, this is all about advocacy, all right? You having that right to be able to stand up for your child so that you are empowered. You know the things that you need to be able to speak with that IEP team and communicate with the school, which then in turn will also give your child their own sense of self advocacy, because the more empowered you are, you can then in turn empower your child. So, parents and students, again, are an integral part of this process. It's not something done to you, it is something that is done with you. Next is the referral process. All right, so that's usually the first step. Referrals can be done one of two ways. It can either be requested by the parent, or it can be requested by the school and or school personnel. All right, so that's usually how this kind of kickstarts the whole process. If you are a parent who suspects that your child is struggling due to a disability and may need additional academic help, request an evaluation. All right, now oftentimes a teacher may see your child is struggling in the classroom and reach out to you to let you know that they would like your child to receive an evaluation. They may not be in the best setting or that least restrictive environment. Parents, please know this. There is no evaluation that can be done without your consent. Okay, so your consent must be given in order for any evaluation to take place. Once you have consented and you say, all right, let's do this, let's move forward, an evaluation will look at all the areas of a child's development. So an evaluation team will meet to discuss this referral that's been given to them. Once they discuss that, they'll determine, okay, well, we're going to move forward with an assessment and determine what are the best assessments to be able to determine what are the areas of weaknesses that your child has. All right. This evaluation must be conducted within 60 days of receiving that initial parental consent for evaluation. Members of the evaluation team, again, they're going to try to identify all of your child's special education needs as well as any special related services needs. All right. This evaluation will use different tools and strategies and is often administered by two professionals. Okay. At the end of the evaluation, there will be a report that is written to discuss their findings. You have the right to look at that evaluation and receive copies of that evaluation prior to walking into any eligibility meeting. All right, eligibility meeting is usually the next step. You have the right to be able to see those things and review those things prior to walking in so that you are prepared with the questions that you have walking into the eligibility meeting. Your eligibility meeting is very important that you participate because the eligible meeting is truly where the determination about your child is made, whether or not they're going to be given that IEP. Okay, so it really happens, it's either your child qualifies based on their finding or your child does not qualify. If your child qualifies, the next step is to move forward with setting up that IEP. However, do not be dismayed if your child does not qualify. You still have options. You can request to have a separate independent evaluation of your choosing, which the school system will also pay for. All right, and to reevaluate the assessment that was used. Okay, so you have the right to seek out a second opinion. So it's not necessarily the end at that moment. You can continue to, again, these are your rights to be able to continue to advocate and fight for your child. Now, for those who have received the IEP, just to give you a quick overview of some of the required components of an IEP. Now, these are the things that as the IEP is being put together that you will see on your IEP. IEP will have a present level of performance. How is your child currently working? All right, what is their performance that they're currently at right now? Using information from assessments, from observations, any kind of data that will give us an idea of how they are currently working. All right. Next, we're going to determine what are the goals. All right. We know where they are deficient, and we want to determine what are the goals that we're going to set. It's very important that these goals be measurable. All right. They need to be measurable, and we are setting goals for the year. So we want realistic, measurable goals that are going to be set for this year, whether academic or functional. Again, these goals are to be obtained within this school year. All right. Next, we'll look at related services. All right. These are just services that are provided by other persons other than the intervention specialist. This could be by the occupational therapist, speech and language, physical therapist, etc. So these are not necessarily what is done in the classroom. These are other related services. Okay. Now, the special education needs are the instructional strategies that the students might receive, not necessarily in the classroom setting. Okay. Moving on, we also have a modification and accommodations. Now, again, these are either going to be, if it's a modification, a change to the curriculum that the student needs in order to be able to demonstrate their learning and their functioning in their school environment, or it's going to be an accommodation, which is special supports that a student needs in order to be able to learn the material. Okay, so either it's going to be accommodations or modifications or both, depending on that student needs. Okay. Service delivery specifically states when are these services going to start? When are they going to be delivered? All right. In your IEP, you need to know when these services are going to start. Okay. And then we mentioned this a little before, the least restrictive environment, which is the extent that students are not going to be participating or going to be participating in their regular classes. Remember, we want to provide that regular school experience as much as possible and just pull them out when needed for them to be able to receive those services. Okay. And then lastly is testing placement. All students are required to take part of state and district-wide tests. Either that can be with or without accommodations. If they cannot take those tests, there are alternate tests that are offered for them. All right. Again, this is just to be able to empower you parents. There is a lot that is involved in an IEP, but the more you are familiar, the more you educate yourself, the more you can be a better advocate. I thank you for taking the time to just kind of delve into just an introduction of IEP, and I hope that you're walking away more empowered. All right, go ahead and continue to fight for your students. Have a great day.